Hi, I'm Joe, and this is my channel, Joe on Yoga, where I talk about all sorts of different stuff relating to the practice, both physical and mental practice of yoga. In this video, we will look at Aparigraha, which can and is regularly translated as being non-possessive or non-attached. So it is a part of these Yamas, which are a code of conduct, which relate specifically to how we should behave towards others. So we can use them to essentially become more able to behave in ways that are gentle, more generous, more harmonious with the world around us. So Aparigraha encourages us to let go of greed, materialism, and attachment to physical possessions that we have, or also mental concepts that we might be holding on to very, very dearly. And often when we become attached, we will experience stress because we try to hold on very tightly to the things that we have. We might try to manage our reputation, and we might find that it's more difficult to let go of things or accept when things change. So Aparigraha advises us as individuals to avoid excessive accumulation of material wealth or possessions, and to move away from this idea that getting things, obtaining wealth or obtaining physical possessions will bring lasting happiness or really define our value. We have value just by being here, just by being on this physical planet as human beings. Everybody, all life should be considered to have the same value. It shouldn't be determined by our bank balance, by our job title, by the way that we look, by what our preferences are, by the clothes that we wear. We, with Aparigraha, can also embrace minimalism. So we can embrace simplicity, and perhaps the more simply we're able to live, the less cluttered our mind might start to feel. So the more clutter-free that we become, the less complicated that life will be, and the more contentment and freedom we might experience. We can move away from the very strong emotional roller coaster that we can sometimes get caught up in. Now, often we spend time really holding on to relationships, roles, or identities. We can have very strong emotional connection to these, and it's not necessarily a bad thing per se. It's very important to feel, and it's very important to be connected. But being connected and understanding and being compassionate is very different to grasping, to holding on tightly just to maintain some sense of stability, where in fact we're not being truthful with ourselves and we're not recognizing the very changing nature of our existence. So everything that we see, everything that we can experience inside of and outside of us is constantly shifting. Nothing in the known universe has remained unchanged, at least according to what scientists have discovered so far. Everything is shifting, everything is impermanent. And so on an emotional level, we can recognize that it is impossible to maintain the same state consistently for forever. And so when that comes to relationships, if we're holding on to a relationship because we are very fond of the person, or we like them to be a certain way, that can become quite constraining. So it's about being a little bit more open, about appreciating others and also our feelings as something that is very much transient and evolving and changing. We can use Aparigraha to also cultivate gratitude. Now, when we cultivate gratitude, that's a useful way of counteracting possessiveness. And in that sense, Aparigraha encourages us to appreciate what we have rather than constantly striving for more. And it's about really finding contentment in the present moment. So looking to be as engaged as we can in the moment that we're in, because ultimately that's all we have, the moment that we're in. The past is gone, the future is yet to happen. And so the more fully that we can live in the present moment, the more steady, the more easeful we might find that our life becomes. In terms of our relationship with the environment, Aparigraha is useful because we become more mindful of the impact of our words and our actions. So if we look at this on a level of consumption, everything that we consume will have come from somewhere, and there will be a whole series of events that have led to whatever product, whatever thing it is that we're consuming, to being there. So these processes, or these different conditions that have happened, may have caused suffering along the way. So we can look to avoid things that have obviously caused suffering to others, and we should also try to look in a very insightful way to consider the things where we might not have recognized that suffering has taken place. So it's about looking deeper, being more responsible in our consumption, and then the impact of that is we hopefully will be able to mindfully reduce the harm that we're doing to others, but also we can have a more gentle ecological footprint. And then Aparigraha also helps us move towards selflessness and generosity. By letting go of the need to possess and accumulate, we might find that we become more selfless and more generous. Generosity, letting go, fosters a spirit of sharing and giving. Again, these things lead to greater social harmony. So just to sum Aparigraha up, it's about freeing ourselves from the burdens of attachment and also materialism. And it's about recognizing the impermanence of all things and trying to embrace a more content, spiritually fulfilling way of life. And it's an essential principle in yoga philosophy. It's an essential yama, they're all essential, and they help us to achieve inner peace and balance. And that sums up the five, or that's the fifth of the 5 yamas. Thank you. Please like and share this video. If you want to click subscribe, I don't know which way to point, but please keep following. It's nice to share these teachings with you. Namaste.